Hey guys, welcome to Coding with DG. In this video, we are going to talk about the sort method in JavaScript and how it works. So here we have an HTML file that is just the boilerplate, the traditional structure. And here we have two texts. One is just saying this is the HTML file, and the other one is just saying let's learn how that sort method works. Also, we have a script tag with a source that is having as a value this root, this path of the sort.js file. Cool. So let's see what this sort.js file has inside. Here we have sort.js. I'm going to close this Explorer. And here we have just an array of strings with orange, blue, and flower. And we are logging it. As you already know, if we want to see what is being logged, we just go to the browser, right-click, inspect element, and we go to the console. Here it is, orange, blue, and flower. Cool. So this is the array that we have here. As we already know, in JavaScript, the arrays can have different types of elements at the same time. In other words, we can have strings, and we also can put numbers, or we can also put objects, or whatever we want, and it's going to work absolutely fine. But to start with, let's see how it works with just strings. So this is the key thing of the sort method. It is an array method used to put the elements in a specific order, but we should know that the sort method in JavaScript arrays by default always is going to sort the elements in alphabetical order. Let's see how this works in an array of strings. So if we just say console.log array of strings 1.sort, what do you think is going to happen? Let's save it and let's see. Here we are. So the initial one is orange, blue, and flower. So it's this one. And the second console.log, that is on line 11, we have blue as the first position, then flower, and then orange. Why? So it is sorting in alphabetical order. What that means? It means that at the first step is going to compare this very first letter, O, with this very first letter B, and with the very first letter F. And it's going to see which one goes before in the alphabet. It's just that. Okay? So B is before F and O, and that's why blue is in the first position. Then F goes before than O, so it's going to be the second position. But what happens if we have also another word like by? So in this case, it's going to say, okay, B is less than F, B goes before than O, but what happens with this is that it's exactly the same. Well, in this case, it's going to compare the second one, the second letter or character, with the second letter or character. L goes before than Y, so it's going to be first blue and then by. If we save it, here we are, blue, by, flower, and orange. Got it? Cool. So let's try now to use this same method in an array of numbers. So I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to put a multi-line comment, which is /* and here we are. Let's say that we have an array of numbers. This array of numbers is going to have numbers like 2, 3, 1, 4, 5. This is not sorted, right? So if we just say console.log array of numbers.sort, we expect to have what? We expect to have 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. If we save it, we can see that it is doing it great. Cool. But here we have numbers. We do not have letters. So how is it sorting them in an alphabetical order? Because again, the JavaScript sort method by default is going to sort always by the alphabetical order. But this seems like it works fine, right? For this case, it is absolutely okay. But let's see the following example with other numbers. So I'm going to remove these numbers. And now I'm going to put another ones. I'm going to put 100, 3, and 430. So what do we expect here? We expect to have 3, 100, and 430. However, if we save it, let's see what happens with the sort method. We have 100, then we have 3, and then 430. So it is not sorting it, or it is just putting these things in this order. Let's try putting, for example, 4 here to see if it is trying to sorting it or not. Okay, it is sorting it because the first element here is 4. It puts it after the 3. Cool. So it is trying to sort, but for one reason, the 100 is at the beginning. That's not expected at all. What's happening here? The problem is, as we said, JavaScript works sorting alphabetically. So what alphabetically means in this context, and this is the key thing for this video. What alphabetically means in this context. Every character have what is called a Unicode point value. Okay, I'm going to write it here. Unicode code point value. No matter if they are numbers, letters, or any other character, they always have a Unicode code point value. This is just a number. But the question here is, how can we know the Unicode code of a character? JavaScript has a method to know it. So we can have any string, like for example, hello, and we can put that char code at, and here we are going to put the position in the string. So we want to know, for example, the Unicode code of the letter H. We know that it starts with position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are going to ask what is the char code at the position 0. So for the H, the char code, the Unicode code point value that is going to use to sort is going to be 1. 104, okay? 104. Cool. So if we ask for the one at the E, so it's at the position 1, it's going to be 101, okay? So the letter E is going to be before the letter H, for example. Cool. So in this other case, the array with numbers have 4 numbers, and as you know, it's going to try to compare them alphabetically. So it's going to compare 1 with 3 with 4 with 4. So it's going to start with the very first element, the very first character. So if we say 101, and we say, okay, which is the Unicode code of the 1, it's going to be 49, right? Because it's the first element in the string, it's 49. And then for this 3, we can ask to the 3, which is the char code at 3, it's going to be 51. So 51 is greater than 49, so the 3 should be after the 1. So this is how the comparisons works in JavaScript. First, it's going to compare the very first elements as it will be an array of strings, and then it's going to compare the second elements, the third elements, the fourth elements, and so on and so forth. So that's how it works by default in JavaScript. And that's why if we clean this and we save it, we can see that even if we are sorting it, the 1, 0, 0 is going to be at the front, because it just starts comparing this 1 with this 3, with this 4, with this 4, and 1 is going to be is less than the third, that's the 3, and then the 4, and it's not going to keep comparing anything, because we already know that the 1 is less than 3, so this string or this number, but this element in the array is less than this element in the array, alphabetically speaking. Okay, so that's how it works. Now, let's see more things. Let's see how can we fix this, and let's see another things about the sort method. So first of all, let's say that also we can have another method which is called reverse, that is going to say, okay, it's for this very same array, we can put it in the other order. So if we put reverse here and we save it, it's going to be like first 4, third 0, then 4, then 3, and then 100. Pretty easy, okay? It's going to be exactly the same as the array. We can do it with any array, and it's going to just reverse the elements, the order of the elements. Cool. Then let's see the second thing, which is the most important one. You can specify how to sort elements. Sorting is basically implementing by doing comparisons between the elements of the array. If we have this same example that was not working before, okay, this same example, and we save it, here we are with this same example, we can try to fix it specifying how to sort. So to specify how to sort, we have to send a parameter here to this sort function. Let's zoom a little bit. Okay, here we are. And what we are going to do is just say, okay, here, use a function to sort. Okay, just that. Obviously, we have to define this function. So let's start to create it. Function to sort, and let's define it here. So the function to sort by default is always going to get two elements, the element 1 and the element 2. Why? Because as we know, it is going to compare one element with this other element one comparison each time. So first 1 with 3, then 1 with 4, and so on and so forth. So we are going to try to specify what is the condition, or what is the thing that you have to be aware of when you try to compare two elements in a sorting, right? So here we define how to sort it, or how to do the comparisons. How this works, it is going to expect as result, it should return a number. This number is going to be defined here. We can put let number, and this is what we are going to return. Okay, so here are the conditions. If number is negative, element 1 is sorted before element 2. Okay? If number is 0, it's not going to do anything because it is already sorted. If number is positive, it's greater than 0, element 2 is sorted before element 1. Cool. So what this means? It means that if we return 0, it is going to just return the same array. It's not going to modify anything. But if we show, for example, return -1, we are just saying that the element 1 should be before element 2. So 1 should be before 3 in this very same case. But if we just specify -1 here, this is going to apply to every comparison. So element 1 is going to be always less than element 2, and it doesn't matter what is element 1 and what is element 2. So it is not so smart. What we want is to return something that is going to satisfy for all the conditions that we want. So in this very case, we can just say that if we subtract and we say a minus b, okay, and a being the element 1 and b being the element 2, so we can put these names. So we put element 1, and here we put element 2, and we return this. This is going to say, okay, let's say that we have 1. So here we have 1 as element 1, and we have 3 as element 2. 1 minus 3 is -2, which is a negative number. So because of that, it is going to return a negative number. So 1 is less than 3. It should be before, because if number is negative, element is sorted before element 2. Okay, so the number is this one. So we can say let number equals to element 1 minus element 2, and just return the number, which is going to be exactly the same. But then when we compare, for example, let's say we compare 5 with 3. If 5 is the first element, 5 minus 3 is 2. It means that it is positive, so the second element, which is 3, is going to be less than the first element, which is 5. So then it's going to return that. Okay, so if we save it, we can see that it is sorting it in the way that we want. Cool. As you can guess, if we just say, okay, element 2 minus element 1, it's going to sort the elements in the same right way, but in the descending order. So here we have exactly the same, but in the descending order. Cool. So this is how we can sort numbers in JavaScript arrays, putting element 1, element 2, and we have to specify this function to sort. Okay? It can be this kind of functions, it can be an arrow function, and it's going to be totally fine. It can be a function in a separate line, or it can be defined here as an anonymous function. If you know how to do it, it's just saying function here, and we can define it here, and it's going to work totally fine. It's up to you. Cool. So to wrap up this video, we are going to say a few more things. First of all, if you want me to make a video about how to sort objects in JavaScript, please let me know in the comments below, and I'm gonna do it for you. Just let me know, because it's pretty similar. We are going to need a function like this one, but we are going to try to specify with different kinds of objects, with different kinds of properties, and that's it. If you want me to do it, just let me know in the comments below. So, 2 things more. First, this is information that is a plus, and it's not needed to know, but passing this kind of function to sort makes sorting really slow. So to sort numbers, we can just create another kind of array, which is called a typed array. So if we just say const number array equals 2, and instead of putting numbers in this way, we can put new int 32 array, which is called typed array, and here between parentheses we put the elements that we want. For example, this same 3, 4, or it was 100. It was 4, 100, 3, 430. And in this same case, if we just say, okay, number array that sort, and then we log this number array, it's going to be exactly the same, but instead of being an array, it is an int 32 array. So it is another kind of array, which is called typed array. And the difference is that if we have many elements, this is going to be faster than this. Okay? So internally, JavaScript does this faster than this. It's something that you have to be aware of if you really want to make your code performant, but it's not needed to know at all unless if you are a beginner. Okay, so if you didn't get this, don't sweat it. It's nothing that you have to worry about. It's just information to add to this video, but it's not necessary at all to know it. Cool. So that's it. This is the how that sort method works in JavaScript. And the only thing that is missing here is a task for you. So let's start with the task. So do you know what will be the order of the elements if we have an array like one car ABC 421 and 32? So here we have an array with numbers and strings, and we should know what will be the order of the elements if we have this array, and apply the sort method without any comparator function, so just the default .sort method. Do you know what's going to be the answer of that? Leave it in the comments below, and better than that, leave in the comments below why the result of this is going to be the one that you know. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you really enjoy it. If you have any question, please let me know. If you enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. I'm going to see you in the next one.